Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Firstly, I want to apologize. I wasn't active on the channel for almost 3 to 4 weeks, but that was because of an incident that happened while rescaping my shrimp tank. So I did a rescape in order to revitalize the substrate. The substrate layer was really dying out and the plants were not growing at all. So I wanted to give a whole rescape to the tank. But while doing that, I made some mistakes, some rookie mistakes that happened first time from my side, and those mistakes created a whole mess in the tank over the later days. So because of which I wasn't able to complete my scaping process and wasn't able to do any video editing, so I had to wait till I corrected my mistake. So because of that I have been late in uploading a video, but in this video I'm going to tell you what went wrong and how it went wrong, because of what wrong I did, what mistake I did, which led to the mess in the tank. So let's get into the video. One by one I'll tell you what happened. I'll show it to you from the start while I started the rescaping process of the tank, and then we will get to the point where I made the mistakes. But I think you have to realize, you have to comment down your thoughts on what the mistake actually was. Okay, so let's get into the video. It had been raining since morning. As I stayed indoors, I had enough time to closely observe my tanks. I noticed my shrimp tank aquascape was having some issues. The tips of plants had turned yellow and there was no new growth from beneath. I decided to rescape the tank. Why, you ask? Well, because this tank had been going on for almost 10 months now, without any CO2 or fertilizer dosing. The only possible issue is that substrate has run out of nutrients, because I put less than half inch of dirt for substrate. Since then, I've done multiple trimmings of the plants. I started disintegrating the tank by first removing the driftwood and the rocks. This will make everything further easier. I then picked up all the small detailing rocks to avoid mixing them with substrate. I'll just speed up the further process so it won't be long. I went on to take out the plants one by one while making sure I don't disturb the substrate. Trust me, catching all the fish wasn't the hardest part, though it took a lot of time and effort. Look at all the shrimps going crazy inside the tank, thinking it's an apocalypse. To remove all the shrimps, I took out some of the tank water itself to avoid giving them a shock of water change. I also removed all the moss from the driftwood and put it in the same container as the shrimps. Now we can take out all the dirty water to make it easier to remove the substrate. Mixing up or stirring the substrate while the tank is still full of water can make the whole task nasty and tiresome. Make sure to bring the water level to utmost minimum from where you can scoop up the substrate. After completing the tremendously tiring job of removing and cleaning the sand from the substrate, I also cleaned the tank and rinsed it with rock salt and water. I also decided to put up a plain white background wallpaper on the back glass. Plain white background will make the aquascape look aesthetically more pleasing and reflect the light better. Well, better than a dark black background that was here before. After all this is done, let's start with the actual fun part that we all have been waiting for. At least I've been waiting for. That is aquascaping. I started off by putting 1 inch of ordinary garden soil. Also, some people like to call it as dirt. Hence, the name is given as dirted tanks. But the fate had different plans for me. I also added half an inch of really easily available and cheap garden compost. I wasn't aware that it was just plain normal compost which had not decomposed totally. But yet, as I said, the fate had different plans. I mixed it up with the layer of the garden soil. To hide the soil and compost layer, I put some sand between the glass and the compost layer. Putting in a layer of gravel will help the plant roots spread easily. Over this layer of gravel, we will place the fine sand layer to cap it all off. So the soil and compost cannot leak into the water and make the tank water dirty or brown or cloudy, you can say. So after that, leveling up the sand for no reason at all. It will be eventually disturbed while planting and placing the hardscape, but still, let's level it for now. I had these wood pieces made out from cut off branch. I had treated them for a month in salt water and 1 month in direct sunlight. I decided to use cyanoacrylate superglue to join multiple small pieces to get the desired driftwood shape. Then I played with the hardscape until I found the layout that I was satisfied with. Then I tied up the previously removed moss on these new driftwood pieces. I often use cotton thread, mostly the one that is used for sewing clothes. You can find it in regular stores, supermarkets, or anywhere. Try to use the one with most identical shade as that of the moss. Now it's time to fill it up with water, after which I left it as it is for 24 hours or more than 24 hours, I guess. After that, the water appears to be crystal clear and I was assured that the scape is good and well and the fish will be happy inside. Well, for now let's do our planting. I have the plant trimmings from before of this tank that I'm going to reuse here. I'm not going to put in any new plants because the same plants are doing really good for me. So the plant list is Bacopa caroliniana, Bacopa monieri, guppy grass or also called as Najas minor, then Hygrophila corymbosa, Ludwigia ovalis, Vallisneria gigantea, Rotala indica, Kabomba green, Limnophila sessiliflora, and I think a bit of Hydrocotyle tripatita, or I don't know what the actual name of that plant is, and some strands of hair grass also are in there which are not growing at all, but they are still surviving, so I'm going to put them back in again. I tried my best to pronounce these names correctly, but if I did any mistake, please point it out in the comments. I'm going to trim out the previously stunted tips and root growth and use the same plants, at least the top part of the stem, again to plant it in this tank. This will ensure that the plants have new growth and they develop new roots, consuming the nutrients from the substrate. I did not have any proper layout plan for the planting of this aquascape. I'm just going to go with the instinct and put the plants anywhere I think it will look good. So I just wanted to get a look of a random like a jungle type, because in jungles it's not pre-planned like which plant will grow where. So what's a better way to get that type of look? After planting is finally done, let's refill the water in the tank. Now I drip acclimated the shrimps for at least 10 to 15 minutes And I also added in some ramson snails while they were getting acclimated. Let's release our neon tetras and our female beta into the tank. They have been in the container for almost 2 or 3 days, I guess now, so they are a little stressed. As you can see, the neon tetras look really pale because they are stressed, and their colors are just gone totally. And when I put them in the tank, they will go into hiding immediately. But a few hours later, they were looking like glow tetras literally, because their color was popping out really nice. So which goes to show that they are happy and comfortable into the new scape. But then plans of the fate are just different from mine. Driftwood got detached from the rocks and started floating. Maybe super glue bond is weak and the wood is just too buoyant. That is what the mistake was done by me. I did not boil the driftwood before putting it into this tank, which would have really helped in sinking the wood into the tank. So I decided the thought of keeping it tied down using cotton thread, eventually it will sink. In the next 2 days, something really unexpected happened. All of the driftwood was covered with fungus like white colored substance. Now I think somebody will say in the comments like it is just a biofilm, let it grow. But no, I know what biofilm looks like. This is not a biofilm. And biofilm is consumed by the shrimps. It will be gone within 2 or 3 days in a shrimp tank. But here it was not going to go away. I don't know why. So at first I tried to remove with hand and do a water change, but it just kept coming back and back. I was getting really frustrated at this point. Some of the shrimps and snails looked like they were eating it, but I'm not very sure about it. So here I knew something was really wrong. But till now all the fish seemed okay to me, and shrimps and snails also did not show any signs of stress, but I had a feeling that a disaster is about to come. So as you saw in the clips of the rescaping of my shrimp tank, I made two mistakes in particular. I hope you have noticed the mistakes and you might have commented your thoughts on it, but now I'll tell you what actually happened because of that mistakes. So as I told you, I had a bad feeling about the whole scape getting messed up. That feeling just grew stronger and stronger over the next 2 days, and one morning after the 2 days I woke up and I saw that all my fish were at the surface, all my shrimps were also at the surface. They were gasping for air. The shrimps looked like they wanted to jump out of the water, I was in such a shock and trauma that I didn't even give a thought to record a video of that situation. I immediately got into solving it. I immediately took out all my fish and shrimps and snails. Even the snails were at the surface. So I knew that something was really wrong inside the tank. So I took a bucket, I took some fresh water, added a little bit of tank water in it, and took out all my shrimps, all the neon tetras and the snails from the tank. Then immediately I dismantled the whole scape. I did not wait for another moment to make a video of that process. So because of which I couldn't edit the video of my whole scape and I couldn't upload it to my channel. So uh, after I dismantled the whole scape, I decided to start from the beginning, and this time I did not want to make the same mistakes. The mistake was that the compost was not totally decomposed. It was having some organics, I think, in it still, and it was not vermicompost, to be exact. It was just plain normal compost that had been lying around in some compost bin. It was not vermicompost, it was not chicken manure or cow manure. So because of that, I think this time it was wrong to use the just plain compost. Previously in my scapes I have used vermicompost only, and that too was made from cow manure. So this time using only vermicompost led to some really bad ammonia spikes, because of which the fish were gasping for air. They were at the surface. And the second mistake that I did was using mango tree branches to make driftwood. Now don't get me wrong, some people do use mango tree branches to make driftwood, but the process that I had done to make it into a driftwood was, I kept it for a month in the sun to dry. Then 1 month I kept it for waterlogging, and the only thing I missed out was boiling it to kill the bacteria before putting it inside the tank. Now I don't know how I made such a rookie mistake, but it's happened now, so we cannot do anything about it. But still, so I did not boil the wood, I did not remove the extra tannins which come out after the boiling process. Only I had only kept it for waterlogging inside the salt water, which took out most of the tannins, but still it had a lot of organics inside it. So when the wood was inside the tank, the tannins started to leach out, and there was growth of fungus and a lot of biofilm. And also the water of the tank was smelling a little bit. I don't know how to describe that smell, but it was smelling a little bit pungent, like mango tree smell, I would say. So that was the second mistake, and I hope I will be taking care of these mistakes in future, not to repeat them again, because my fish had a really bad time, my shrimps were having a really bad time, and even after that my shrimps have been infected with Vorticella parasite. So I have kept all of them inside a isolated container, and I am treating them with rock salt, and it's been a week since I'm doing that. I hope all my shrimps will get well. I even lost some shrimps unfortunately during this process, but still many of them are alive and doing fine. I think they will get better in some days, and I will be able to put them back into this tank. So as you can see, the rescaping, the better rescaping of this tank is completed, and shortly in 2 or 3 days I think I'll be putting a video of this rescape on my channel. After this video comes out, in 2 or 3 days I'll put up the video of the final rescape of this tank and how I improved the mistakes that I did in the previous scape. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. I hope you will not make the same mistakes while scaping your tanks, to avoid causing harm to your fish or shrimps or to the aquascape, and having to go to the extra mile for the efforts of doing the rescape again and again. So yeah, that's all for today's video. See you again in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.